2. Hi, Flosstube. My name is Texas Bob 88. Bob, Robert, whatever you want to call me out of that list. I mean, there are some other names some other people call me. They aren't appropriate for Flosstube, but, hey, whatever floats your boat. I am a male cross-stitcher who lives in the great state of Texas, and this is a channel about cross-stitch. So welcome. If you're not into cross-stitch, sorry, you're in the wrong place. Have fun. Maybe you're looking for somebody else, not me. So, welcome to my channel. If you are a repeat offender and this is one of the second or third times you've come back to check me out, go ahead and hit that subscribe. If you really want to keep up to date and know when my videos are posted, go ahead and hit that notification bell. And give me a thumbs up if you like what you see. If you don't like what you see, I'd prefer you didn't give me a thumbs down, but it's whatever floats your boat. So, we're going to go in typical order. First portion of the show is the fangirl portion. So, the fangirl portion is just that. It's where I fangirl over some Flosstubers. The first one is somebody I think I have mentioned before. Her name is Teresa's Little Stitcher on YouTube. Sorry, I keep looking at myself and not at the camera. I will try and look more at the camera. And I think I've mentioned her before. I'm bringing her back up because she has recently started a mini series for new cross stitchers who are interested in starting full coverage patterns. Most people will say that you shouldn't start there, but she does have a couple of points where she talks about that. You should go check her out. She is gearing this towards new cross stitchers. So experienced people who are thinking about going to check her out know that these are for new cross stitchers. So she's covering all of the bases, and you need to understand that before you sit there and watch it, that there are going to be things that as an experienced cross stitcher you already know, you already understand. That portion's not for you. So it's for the new stitchers. And she is talking about doing a full coverage piece, and full coverage pieces can be really daunting. I'm in the middle of one. It doesn't have very many colors, so it's not like a Heaven and Earth Designs where there's a lot of confetti stitches or one stitch of a color in a 10 by 10 grid. That can be a lot. And so she is starting with a Heaven and Earth design. It's a little bookmark. It has something like 80 something colors in it, I think. But she talks about fabric and thread and how to store things and all of that stuff. So if you're new and you're thinking about starting a full coverage piece, go ahead and check her out. Once again, it's Teresa's Little Stitcher. I am going to have that in the description. Next is, this is a new Flosstuber. She's only on video 3. I watched it today, actually. And she is the Forensic Flosser. She is from, I think she said she's from Minnesota. And I'm really bad with names, so I don't remember to get names. I just use your YouTube channel. Sorry if that offends y'all. And so if you are looking for something to binge watch, go check her out. She does, so the forensic part that's her job, and flosser is because it's Flosstube. So I like her. She was talking about a book she was reading, and they talk about Sexy September, but because her husband's out of town, she's doing Stitching September. I say we combine the two and do Sexy Stitching September. Say that 5 times fast. Let me know what you think. Sexy Stitching September. I like it. I think I'm going to use it because all of my stitching is sexy. It is. I know, y'all can't resist. I'm just turning y'all on the more I speak. So, there's that. Then another person is the Elegant Thread. I discovered her because she followed me, and so I started following her because at one point I thought, well, since you follow me, I have to follow you, right? I have since unfollowed some people. She's not one of them, though. I do love listening to her. Her videos are a little bit longer, so they're a commitment. I tend to listen to her when I stitch more, or tend to listen to her more when I stitch. because it's a longer period of time. I typically will watch shorter videos like head on, and I pay attention to those, like I'm sitting there watching them, but they're shorter videos. So normally I watch them while I eat, or, you know, when I'm taking a break between something, or while I'm trying to fall asleep. I don't listen to the long ones while I'm trying to fall asleep, because normally I fall asleep in the middle of them and then I have to go back and figure out where I was. So normally I stitch during those, and at some point, if I feel like I missed something that I'm interested in, I just rewind it a little bit, pay attention, and then once I move past that part, I start stitching again. But I love her, and I love listening to her channel. And then the last one is the NM Stitching Demon, or New Mexico Stitching Demon, as is her full name, but her Flosstube is NM Stitching Demon. She does some really intense projects. So that's actually one of the reasons I fell in love with her, was because she does some intense stitching. She does some full coverage pieces, but she also does some of the more intricate designs, and she stitches a lot on top of going to school and working a full-time job. Check her out. She's really cool. She's been a little irregular on her videos, but she's currently in the process of planning a wedding, and she's getting married this month. So, Stitching Demon, like New Mexico Stitching Demon, hi. If you see this, congratulations on your wedding. I hope that you have a fabulous honeymoon. And I'm kind of with your fiance on, I bet you stitch at least once before, like, the wedding day. Like, just once. I mean, come on. You'll be able to look at a piece and go, I put that stitch in there on my wedding day. Why not? So anyway, that's the end of my fangirl portion. I will try and put links for all of those down in the description box. It's right below the subscription button, the notification button, and that thumbs up button, if you're wondering. You know, it's right below that. Go ahead and hit all three of those while you're checking out that description. I've really figured out I need to, like, promote my channel a little bit more. Oh, that reminds me. So that's the end of the fangirl portion. Giveaway is coming up soon. I was at 491 subscribers today. At the 500 mark, I am going to do a giveaway. I'm going to post a picture of the patterns here. So the pictures should show up there. I'll take a picture of them and insert them. Okay. So whips. There was only one that got worked on. I will say this video is going faster than the first filming. So, this is the Unicorn by Teresa Winsler. I did over 200 stitches in this. So, the story behind this, and the reason I got so many stitches, is I'm a member of a stitching group, the Stitching Quest to Destroy the One Ring. It is a Lord of the Rings themed stitching group. And we did a mountain quest where you had to stitch in increments of 72 minutes, and then you would roll a dice. It's more complicated than that to get points, and the goal was to get 432 points. And I didn't make it. If you're really interested in checking it out, there's a website, and you can find them on Facebook. The Stitching Quest to Destroy the One Ring is what it's called. And it's Lord of the Rings based, but so I got a lot done. There is a half stitch right here. It was 1 o'clock in the morning. I was on my fourth bout of 72 minutes, which meant I would have gotten to roll 4 dice because this was my start off project. The rules are on the group. And I had 2 stitches above this, and I noticed that I had stitched over 3 instead of over 2, and so I pulled them out, and I could tell at that point that I was tired and that it was not going to get any better, and so I should probably quit while I was ahead. So I quit. And then yesterday my allergies were acting up, and so I took Benadryl and slept most of the day and didn't get any stitching done. I did not complete my quest, but I figured, make up homework, right? So, there's that. Plus Ultra, didn't get any work done on that today. And the Tudor Rose, I am working on kitting up. So, the Tudor Rose, I actually have the pattern sitting next to me. So, Tudor Rose, I am stitching this for Erin, who I have converted to a cross stitcher, just so y'all know. Like, I did my duty. I brought someone over to the dark side. I told her we had cookies. So she just finished her second project. It's on perforated paper. Once she sends me a completed picture, I will post that on Flosstube so that all y'all can see that. But, so this is for her. And I was super excited because my aunt recently found a tin of overdyed flosses, fancy flosses, or hand-dyed flosses, whatever you want to call them. I typically refer to them as fancy flosses. Most of them are Weeks Dye Works and Gentle Arts, or the Gentle Arts. And so I was like, ooh, I could do this in fancy floss. However, I was talking to my aunt about it, and like in some of these sections, because of the shadowing in these areas, there are like 3 different color reds, and a lot of the fancy flosses are variegated, and so we feel like we would lose some of that definition. So I will probably be sticking predominantly to DMC. However, in this white area, I do have Weeks Dye Works. Here, we'll use this one. Weeks Dye Works Whitewash, which is a slightly variegated, it's really hard to tell, but it's slightly variegated white that I will be doing in the white areas. So here, here, here. And then there is a orange. Let's see. Yeah, it's another Gentle Arts. This one is Periwinkle. And I will probably be using it to stitch in the orange crosses because there aren't very many colors. And there is some slight, there is some slight color changes in there, but nothing I'm too impressed by. And I think that variegation will cover it. So that's that. And for all of the people who have been keeping up with me, who want to know what the fabric looks like that I will be stitching that on, it was a 22 count even weave. However, after washing and shrinking, it's more like a 25 count now, which is fine. I'm not worried about that. It is a dark fabric that I'm not looking forward to because you saw the unicorn piece. That purple is hard to stitch on. I can't imagine what this purple is going to be like. And it looks like a napkin because I did not serge the edges before I dyed and washed it. So I will serge and, it'll be fine. It's pretty much the right size for what I need it for. Or it is the right size for what I need it for. So there's that. So the Tudor Rose is probably going to be predominantly DMC. There will be some Gentle Arts and some Weeks Dye Works in it. This will be the first time I'm using those flosses, so I'm very excited. Garrett, he's the only person that I actually know by his name, as well as his YouTube channel, which is Coffee Stitcher. So Garrett from Coffee Stitcher is a huge Gentle Arts fan and has recommended that I use those. So I'm kind of excited to see how they stitch. I'm super excited about that. So I'm still working on getting that up. Hopefully by the next video I have like a stitch in it or something. And surprisingly enough, all of this is not black. It's brown, which I'm a little surprised about. I kind of feel like it should be black. I kind of want to make it black. I was actually thinking about making it this color, which is Merlin. But it's more like blues, like really, really dark blues and purples. It's really not showing up. It's really dark blues and purples. But I really feel like if I was going to change it, I would need to change it to black because that's what it looks like, as it looks like black, but whatever. So, anyway, that's that. I did dye some other fabric. So this is another, was 22, is more of like a 25 count now. Ice dyed even weave that I got for super cheap at a craft thrift store that I talk about often called the Art Asylum in Houston. It's it turned out beautiful. These were the two pieces that I dyed for Erin, and then she got to choose the one that she wanted, and she wanted more of the solid color. So I really like this. I don't know what I'm going to stitch on it yet, but I'm going to keep this one. And so my aunt has been helping support me while I'm in the job transition. I'm still waiting to hear back on that offer, which is why I haven't gotten very much stitching done because I've been kind of depressed. And you know, if you deal with depression, you deal with a lack of motivation. So I've been lacking in motivation. I did get some of my homework done, and I think that's the only reason I stitched was because I felt obligated to, and I didn't even finish it. But so she decided after seeing some of my fabric dyeing that we should try dyeing fabric and selling it on eBay. She's been selling cross stitch, quilting, and clothing stuff on eBay now for a couple of months and has really enjoyed it, so she figured I could hand dye some fabrics and we could sell them. So my goal was to hand dye fabrics for needlework, predominantly cross stitch. And so we went to Joann's and we found a linen in the apparel section and we brought it home and I serged some pieces and cut them and went ahead and dyed them. I have dyed 4 of the pieces. We bought 1 3-yard piece and then 2 2-yard pieces. And so I was cutting them into fat halves and serging them and then dyeing them. And while the 3 that I'm going to show you were dyeing, I went ahead and did a thread count because I knew I was going to have to post that in the description for the eBay listing and realized that we made a mistake. So the count on the fabric was between a 55 and 58 count. They turned out beautiful, but I don't know very many stitchers who stitch on that thread count. Out of all of the Flosstubes I watch, I think there's only been one person I've heard talking about stitching on a 50 count. And this is 5 to 8 threads higher than that. So you would have to stitch it 1/1. You'd probably want to stitch it 10 stitch, but the pieces are really pretty, and if you like them, you know, go check it out on eBay. My aunt's eBay account is Treasure Frog. So this is the first one. I love this blue and purple. I think it's gorgeous, but I'm selling it. So, yeah, go check it out. This is another one. Now, this one reminds me of an eye, and I dyed this one. I had Garrett in mind for this, so Coffee Stitcher I had in mind for this because I don't know. It just made me think of him. There is a piece that I'm about to show you that it was the colors he was talking about liking, but it didn't scream Garrett to me. It didn't scream Coffee Stitcher. So this was 3 colors. This is an ice dye. The other 2 were dyed in a jar, but this was ice dyed. This was solid pieces of ice. So the purple one that had a lot of modeling, that one was crushed ice. This one was whole pieces of ice. And on this side, I did a dark purple. It was that light sky blue that you saw in the center of that last piece. And then a yellow in the center, and then a green on the other side. And because the base color was blue, the yellow turned out more of a bright green. But this one, when I was talking to him, he said he liked neutrals and blues. So I was thinking about this one for him. And then I saw the eye and I was like, ooh, that one's great for Coffee Stitcher. And then I counted, and when I asked him what count he liked his fabric, 55 was not it. That was not the magic number. So I'm going to sell them on eBay. I don't know that they're going to be used for what I intended them for, but hopefully it'll, be able to help with the finances. This last piece is an ice dye. It was crushed ice. This was a linen that had stamps on it for, like, napkins, dinner napkins. And since dyeing, washing, and drying the stamps have seemed to have disappeared. However, I really like this piece, so this is probably a piece I'm keeping. I have some things in mind for this. I have some patterns that I think would look really pretty on this background. So those are my dies. I think they look really pretty. I'm searching for a linen to dye to sell on eBay. It's harder than I thought because in order to buy in bulk, you have to have an account, and to have an account, you have to have a tax ID number, which because I don't own a business, I'm not going to have, and I'm not going to open up a business so that I can get a tax ID number because I'm only doing this while I'm in the process of looking for a job. I may dye stuff as a hobby and sell it on eBay just for fun, but I don't know that it's going to be very regular. Which is why I'm not opening up an Etsy shop for everybody who's like, why don't you open up an Etsy shop? Because that you have to have a consistent product to sell. And I'm just trying to do this to help out for right now. So, and the only linen that I found is like $90 a yard, which is really expensive and would make turning around and selling it to make even a small profit. I would have to sell it pretty expensive, and I don't know. I like being fair. So, anywho, there's that. There's my dyeing. Like I said, those bigger pieces that I showed you, those will be for sale on eBay. Check it out, Treasure Frog. There will be a link down in the description. Past that subscription button, like hit that on your way down. So, next, some cool stuff. I actually found some things this week while I was going through some boxes of my crafty stuff that are out in the garage. So many people are clutching their pearls now as they think about crafty stuff in a garage. But yes, that is where most of my crafty stuff is. So y'all have seen this pattern before on my channel if you have gone through and watched my other channels. It's called The Castle by Teresa Winsler. And what I showed you was a copy of the pattern that I got from my grandmother, who had 2 copies of this pattern. This is my original copy, though. It is actually like a booklet. And I probably got this like in middle school. And started collecting the threads to kit this up. I actually have a fair amount of them. And then never did it. It's blended threads, and I was discouraged actually by family members who told me that it was going to be very, very difficult because of the number of blended threads, and they weren't lying. But Teresa Winsler is known for her blended threads and half stitches. The bane of my existence right now. But her artwork is just, it really is worth it, y'all. I am in the middle, I'm not even in the middle. I'm beginning a project right now, the Unicorn Project, which is by Teresa Winsler that you saw earlier, and it has a lot of blended threads and half stitches, and I hate them, but it's gorgeous. And I know when it's done, I'm just gonna be in love with it. And the problem with that piece is it's a gift. I really love the person I'm stitching that for. And I just know it's gonna be gorgeous. It's gonna be beautiful, and I'm not gonna want to give it to my dad because that's who I'm stitching it for. He's not, I'm sure, not gonna watch my Flosstube. If he does, I'd be surprised. But anyway, so I'm stitching that for my dad, and the blended threads and the half stitches are just driving me insane. So, but people told me, it's going to be a really difficult pattern. It's going to be a really difficult pattern. It's got a lot of blends and half stitches, and they're right. For somebody who was in middle school and starting off stitching, I probably would have started this piece, gotten discouraged, and just gotten really frustrated with it. So, I now feel once I'm done with this first Teresa Winsler, because I'm probably going to stitch all of the Teresa Winslers, I'm as crazy about Teresa Winsler as Stitching and Sound is about Maravillas. I don't know if he watches my channel, and for some odd reason I can't remember his name. Like, I know his name. Kyle, I remembered his name. Yes! So, I'm about as crazy as Teresa Winsler as Kyle is about Mirabilias. And I think Mirabilias are pretty, but they're just not me. There is one. There's one I want to do. And anyway. So that was a find. And then I don't have the picture for this. So I am going to show you the pattern. And I have a larger copy of it. Covering up floss numbers so that you can't copy this. So I found this in this envelope. In this envelope with the floss. Apparently it was a kit. Have no idea where the rest of it is. It had a needle at one point, and I'm sure it was, I mean, clearly where it's highlighted I was stitching something, but no more. It's a cute little pig. I don't know. I was thinking with as few stitches as I have, I could probably start it again, because I think I have enough thread. I've thought about it. Don't know. Last but not least in the finds, this is something that I have seen several floss tubers, sorry if that was loud, floss tubers, it's not going to let me, I was going to try and take this out of the box, but no. So, this is something that I've seen several floss tubers working on. And I knew I had bought it at one point, but I thought I had gotten rid of it because I knew I'd never opened it. Okay, the glare is just too much for me right now. I don't know that that's any better, but so this is called the Magnificent Wizard. And the only reason I am hesitating to stitch this is because it's on black. And I'm currently stitching on purple. And hate my life because trying to stitch on purple is a pain in the ass. Pardon my French. Because of trying to see the holes. So, I'm really not sure that I'm gonna do that anytime soon. I might sell it on eBay. Who knows? Keep an eye on my aunt's eBay account. You may see it. Right now, I don't know. So, that's pretty much it. I will post, hopefully I posted pictures for the giveaway, and I'm going to do some slight editing. There's really no job update or school update. I haven't heard back from either one of them, and I'm kind of depressed about it, so I really don't feel like talking about it. But keep stitching, y'all, and come back and check me out next Sunday. Don't forget to hit that subscription button. Peace out.